The Fudd has played an important role in idiocy, an existence which has been ridiculed and denounced, served misery and annoyance alike, and carries with it gross moral hypocrisy. To understand the Fudd is to better understand idiocy.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of Tales of the Fudd. I am Mike B, and today we've got some funny stories, some good stuff, good experiences from a couple YouTube viewers / subscribers that I'll be reading out to you. If you're new to this series and you don't know what a Fudd is and you'd like to know, you're going to have to go back to one of the first 7 videos where I explained in the beginning, but I had so many people whining and bitching that I decided to just forego that and refer you back to those videos. So, sorry, but that's the way it is. I'm still going to take some time to ramble about random stuff, but basically these videos are going to be just to kind of expose stories and stuff like that myself, my friends, and other YouTubers have had with Fudds. And again, you can go back if you don't know what a Fudd is. A lot of people think they know what it is, but they really don't. They kind of group just people being dickheads of being Fudds. It's not the same thing. So hopefully with these stories and those definitions, that I was doing to keep everybody on the same page to understand, because people don't realize that just because they're watching the series the whole way through doesn't mean that somebody else might jump into the series later and might not understand exactly what a Fudd is, and that's why I wanted everybody to be on the same page. But people are going to whine. There's a lot of bleeding vaginas on those videos in the comments. I don't want to sit there and listen to the definition each time. Anyway, so made fun of you guys enough. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to just be reading a couple stories today that I thought were pretty fun and very relevant because I've experienced things like this. And then we'll go into kind of my analysis of these stories too and what I think about it. So we'll get started here. We've got Brent, some Polish last name. I can't do that SZY sound. I don't understand that. It's Iwanizyn, I don't know, IWANYSZYN. I probably butchered that. I don't speak Polish, my bad. Anyway, you just described my gun range to a T here in Pennsylvania. Heard a lot about Pennsylvania in with this series, so that must be a really bad state to shoot in as far as Fudds go, or must be over infested. I know it's not everyone, but yeah, it's a lot of people commenting from Pennsylvania. So many guys who think, so many guys who think they're Carlos Hathcock firing 1 round an hour, writing notes in the logbooks, walking down range 300 yards yet, not 100, to mark each shot, because I swear to God, nobody knows what a fucking spotting scope is here. Yes, that is I don't understand why these old guys, it's usually older guys, don't understand what a spotting scope is, or even binoculars. Like, they sit there in the range just to go cold every time they walk down, and they move at half the speed of smell. And then it's like, okay, why are we here then? Like, what's the point? Nobody's shooting because these guys are always walking down there and, marking their target like they are Carlos Hathcock. It's funny. While I'm there doing what I have to with the multiple guns in like 30 minutes, they're looking at me like I'm an asshole for being there disturbing them and what they think is their private range session. Yep. That's what I usually do too. If I was going to go, I think it was last year, 2019, where I got a bunch of ARs. I got a bunch of like retro ARs and stuff, and I was assembling the uppers and stuff and putting them on correct lowers, like the Brownells Repro ones when they still had them. And so for each one, I'd go out and I'd want to just, confirm the zero out there and get them zeroed. And so I'd go out there with an AR, and there's always guys like this out there just at our 100-yard range. And they were looking at me, and I'm like, every time I'd be zeroing, I'd do the 3 rounds, and then I'd look at the binoculars, make my adjustments. And they were just giving me the look like, what the fuck are you doing out there, boy? It's like, okay. I mean, some guys were cool about it, but there was a lot of Fudds out there while I was out there shooting their little 22s or their 1911s. Which is fun. And yeah, these guys do all that shit to shoot a deer at like 50 yards. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it is what I mean, this is the tale that just keeps on telling itself. It's not going to change. I've had so many experiences like that. And all these guys, all they do is shoot at like 50 yards. It's like, I like to shoot offhand at 3 to 5 to 800 yards and see if you can hit something with an old garbage rod. That's fun. These guys, and he says, yes, Pennsylvania is full of Fudds. Well, there's another corroborating story among a lot of other ones. So interesting. But yeah, thanks for sharing that one. That's a pretty typical story. But yeah, I thought the Carlos Hathcock firing 1 round an hour, writing notes in the logbooks. Yep, that's really good. And, you forgot a lot of people too. They'll clean the bore after each shot too, and it's like it takes an hour and a half. And like, what are you doing again to shoot a deer at 50 yards? Like, I guess it's just old guys that have nothing else to live for, and they're that's all they've got. So that's a very sad thing. All right. Sirvi 17. Here's my most aggravating Fudd story. This will be fun. I live in Australia. Ooh, fuck. That's rough. That's really rough. I've heard a lot of stories about gun owners in Australia, and there are very few people who are very similar to my personal preference on firearms ownership, so I feel very bad for you if you are one of those fellow people, Sirvi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Sirvi, S or CIRVI 17. You know who you are if you're watching this. Anyway, yeah, it's a funny thing, but it's really serious, like especially now. Good luck. That's all I'm gonna have to say. Good luck. All right. And so this one is going to be a little bit more lengthy, but this has got a very good moral to it that I'm going to elaborate on. Mark Kruk. I was on a field assignment in the South for about a year and took 2 of my guns for shooting because when in Rome. There was a great local outdoor range near my apartment that was typically staffed by really chill RSOs, range safety officers, if you don't know what those are. Because out here we don't have RSOs. It's out in the middle of the nowhere. Except for one old guy. When I had my Marlin 336 lever action out, he praised my taste in rifles and reminisced about his hunting days. As soon as I switched to my CZ Scorpion with SB Tactical Brace, he rushed over and demanded I prove that I had a stamp for it. I explained the situation to him and pulled up the ATF letter on my phone. Mind you, this is 2018 before the recent ATF reconsideration kerfluffle. One of the other RSOs calmed the guy down who huffed and puffed out of there. I let the RSO do a mag dump. Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing with that. That sort of snitching shit pisses me off. I've seen at various places around the United States, I have seen people that don't necessarily have legal items, right? Do I care? Absolutely not. I think all sort of gun legislation is unconstitutional. I am not going to give ammunition to the ATF or the local law enforcement on any level if I see something like that. Sorry, it's just the way it is. I don't believe in people snitching because that's how gun control keeps being enforced, and that's how they can legitimize their stance on this. Like the ATF can legitimize, well, we found all these illegal things this year and whatever. So, yeah, got a stamp for it. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Anyway, if I ever saw somebody do that shit, I'd have to say something, call them a fucking snitch or something like that. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, it wasn't anything illegal. The CZ Scorpion with the SB Tactical Brace at that time, it was fine. So, God, what people are just idiots when it comes to that shit. Oh, it's a machine gun, it's an SBR, it's a silencer, it's whatever. Like, who gives a fuck? Just let them have fun. Like, as long as they're not being an idiot with it, who gives a fuck? Don't snitch. Anyway, that's my little lesson about that little story. Thanks for sharing, Mark. Thor 561. My favorite, and by favorite, I mean one of the most irritating pieces of Fudd lore, is censor your serial numbers on your firearms on the internet. Someone could report it stolen or file an insurance claim and fuck you over. Okay, so if some boomer or Karen wants to file a false police report or a fraudulent insurance claim on my gun I posted on the internet, be my guest. You're going to at worst mildly inconvenience me while I show them that the gun has been in my possession and has been so since the time I acquired it. Then have fun explaining to the police how this gun that's never been in your possession is somehow yours. Anytime I've asked for evidence of someone actually getting fucked over by posting their serial numbers of their firearm, I get crickets back in return. But because technically it's possible that somewhere, sometime, someone could be dumb enough or crazy enough to file a false report, you get Fudds that think you're doing something incredibly dangerous, showing your serial numbers. Yes, this is something that I have never understood. I don't get it. And I'm on the same damn page as Thor here. And I know a lot of you guys are too, because we've talked about it on live streams and stuff. I don't understand. The new justification for why you need to censor your serial numbers is that they're using AI or some other scary sounding bullshit that frightens boomers to use optical character recognition or some shit to scan your photos to build secret databases of the weapons you own. Which, if they're doing that, they're cross-referencing the metadata on the file with the metadata of your internet habits, which means serial numbers or not, they know what shit you own. So it's literally not worth your time to censor serial numbers. Just because they don't have the serial number doesn't mean that they can't cross-reference it in 100 different ways. Worrying about the danger of posting serial numbers is like worrying about getting hit by a meteor. Yeah, it's not a 0% chance, but it's so low anything would actually happen, it's literally not worth thinking about. Agreed, 100%. I don't understand. I've had this on, it was on forums and it was definitely boomers, not always Fudds, but like older people. And it is Fudds too, like that are selling guns on Gunbrook. You can tell these old guys are selling all these hunting rifles. And they've got like this really shitty Microsoft Paint, like scratched off thing, or they probably actually took a Polaroid photo of it and then took a digital picture of that Polaroid and cut it out and did whatever. But I don't understand the point of it. Like, again, it's what damage can you do with the serial number of a gun? If you don't want the government to know that you own that particular firearm, if that's your angle, then don't post pictures of your fucking firearm. I don't know. I mean, am I really that far out of line with that crazy thought? But I don't know. It's people are really paranoid when it comes to guns, and it's like, the government already knows that you have guns. All right, it's just a fact, especially right now with the age of the internet. Like Thor just said, people they know you have guns. Like, I don't understand what you think they're going to do with these magical databases that already exist if they so choose to go find them. So yeah, I mean, I don't care. I post my serial numbers if I'm going to be selling a gun or just posting it to show online. It doesn't matter. It's never been a problem for me, and never been a problem of anybody that I've ever even known or heard of from mutual friends. So. Agreed with you, Thor. All right, thank you all you guys for sharing your stories. They're all pretty cool. There's some lessons to be had in a few of these, and it's kind of fun, and a nice rant too. That's a very, very nice rant. It's something that I'm very proud of. But yeah, if you want to have your story about your experiences with an actual Fudd, not necessarily just an asshole, but like a Fudd, or just something that's interesting to you, you can throw it in the comments, and maybe I'll read it. And yeah, just try not to make shit up though. Try not to just make things up to be edgy or funny to get me to read it, because I'm not going to. It's really easy to spot that stuff. All you guys try to think you're funny and you're not. So just don't waste your time if you're going to be doing that. Just have it be a real story. There's nothing wrong with it just being a real story. It could still be funny or educational and kind of interesting. So yeah, you can do that. And now I'd like to thank the sponsors of this video, all my Patreon supporters and channel members on YouTube. So yeah, we've been able to do on this channel, and people that I collaborate with, we've been able to do a lot of really cool stuff in the past year and a half because of the support of Patreon and YouTube channel membership. And we afford to like fund things to a point out of pocket, which is fine. It's part of the fun of having a YouTube channel. But this year we've been able to do so many more cool things, like ballistic tests on helmets that we never thought we'd have the money ever to do a ballistic test on, and we did because of Patreon. And just other ballistic tests that we've done, the ammunition that it costs, the gas, you name it, just all really helps. Getting props like this super de-duper Fudd hat, things like that, it just really helps out. And $5 a month or more on either method of support gets you into my Discord server, which is really fun. A lot of people are on there, actually. It's a pretty good time, and there's a lot of information exchange, some shit posting. There's a bunch of different channels in there for different kind of military-related things and topics, and then just general chat. It's really fun. I like it a lot, and I'm on there pretty much every day, at least in some capacity, for a few minutes. Some days more than others. Some days we do voice chats, blah, 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 blah. It's Discord. It's fun. So there's incentive if you so choose. If you want to support my work, but you can't do it financially, I totally understand that. That's totally fine. You can still support me if you so choose by hitting the thumbs up button on this video, hitting subscribe if you haven't already, and then the notification bell, if that even does anything, but go ahead and do it anyway. And then posting a comment with what you thought of this video in the comment section, and then sharing this video out, because it's fun to share things. Except if it's herpes. It might be fun for the person sharing it, but it's not fun for the person getting it. So it's fun to share these videos out. How about that? We'll not make it a blanket statement. Anyway, and if you're in the third category and you're like, nah, screw this guy, I don't want to support him. Well, you already did by watching. So with that, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of Tales of the Fudd.